Before the world ends, the Norns know exactly how it will. The three women who sit at the base of Yggdrasil, the great world tree that holds every realm in existence, weave the threads of fate. Every life, every death, every battle. They do not guess. They do not predict. They see what is, what was, and what must be. And what must be for Thor is this. He will face the great serpent at the end of all things. He will drive his hammer down and kill it. And then he will take 9 steps, and the venom will stop his heart. He has always known this. The gods have always known this. And still, when the serpent moves, Thor moves toward it. This is that story. The serpent's name is Jörmungandr. It was not always a serpent. It was born of Loki, the god of mischief, the trickster, the one who would eventually betray everyone, and the giantess Angrboda, whose name means the one who brings grief. They had 3 children: Fenrir, the wolf who would devour Odin; Hel, the goddess of the dead, who ruled the cold realm where ordinary men went when they died; and the serpent. The All-Father Odin looked at Loki's children and made a decision. Fenrir was chained. Hel was sent to the underworld to rule it, and the serpent, still small enough to hold in one hand, was thrown into the ocean that surrounds all of Midgard. Odin believed he was solving a problem. The ocean is vast. Things thrown into it disappear, but the serpent did not disappear. It ate and grew, and ate and grew, until its body stretched the full circumference of the world, until it could wrap itself around Midgard and bite its own tail, until its weight rested on the floor of every ocean at once. The creature Odin had thrown away, like a dangerous toy, had become something that held the world together. Its name means World Serpent, the Midgard Serpent, the one that encircles everything. Thor and Jörmungandr first met on a fishing boat. Thor disguised himself as a young man and approached the giant Hymir, asking to join his fishing expedition. Hymir was not enthusiastic, but Thor insisted, and Thor generally got what he wanted. They rowed out past the point where any fisherman dared to go, where the water turned dark and the wind went still, where experienced men turned their boats around and did not ask why. Thor stopped rowing. He cut the head off one of Hymir's prize oxen and used it as bait. He dropped the line into the deep, and the serpent took it. What followed was not a fishing trip. The sea began to boil. The boat lurched. The weight on the line was not the weight of any fish. It was the weight of something that had been sleeping on the ocean floor. And now it was awake and pulling back. Thor planted his feet through the bottom of the boat. His knuckles went white. The line screamed. The serpent's head broke the surface. Water poured from its scales like a waterfall. Its eyes, yellow and ancient, found Thor's. 2 creatures who had never spoken recognized something in each other. And in that moment, close enough to smell each other, close enough to strike, Hymir panicked. He cut the fishing line. The serpent disappeared back into the deep. Thor stood there with his hammer half raised and nothing to hit. He had never come so close to something he wanted to destroy. The serpent was gone, but it remembered the face above the boat. So did Thor. The second meeting was stranger. Thor traveled to the fortress of Utgard Loki, king of the frost giants, and was challenged to a series of competitions. He failed them all. He couldn't drain a drinking horn. He couldn't lift a gray cat off the floor. He lost a wrestling match against an old woman. He left humiliated. Only later did Utgard Loki tell him the truth. The drinking horn had been connected to the ocean, and Thor had drunk enough to visibly lower the sea level. The old woman was Ellie, the embodiment of old age, undefeatable because nothing defeats time. And the cat had been Jörmungandr. When Thor had strained to lift it, straining so hard his face turned red and the stone floor cracked beneath his feet, he had lifted one paw off the ground. One paw. And every giant in that hall had gone pale. Because no one was supposed to be able to move the World Serpent at all. Its weight is the weight of the world. To lift even a fraction of it, even in disguise, meant something that Utgard Loki did not want to think about for too long. He had made sure Thor left before he understood what he had almost done. 3 years of winter came first. Fimbulwinter, 3 consecutive winters with no summer between them. Crops failed, rivers froze, the sky turned grey and did not change. Brothers killed brothers for food. Families scattered. The world grew cold in ways that had nothing to do with temperature. These were the signs. Then Fenrir broke free of the magical chain that had held him for centuries. His upper jaw scraped the sky. His lower jaw scraped the earth. He ran toward the battlefield, with fire pouring from his eyes and nothing in his way. Loki, who had been chained beneath a mountain, with serpent venom dripping onto his face since the death of Baldur, broke free too. He took command of the ship Naglfar, built from the fingernails and toenails of the dead, and sailed toward Asgard with an army of the dead behind him. The walls of Asgard shook. The gods reached for their weapons. Thor walked toward the serpent. Not ran, walked. He had known this moment was coming his entire existence. He had felt the hook rip from its jaw on a fishing boat. He had felt its weight when it was wearing a different shape. He had carried the prophecy with him like a stone in his chest for as long as the Norns had been weaving. He walked anyway. The serpent rose from the ocean as the world broke apart around them. Its body blocked out the horizon. Its breath was poison. The ground beneath Thor's feet was already cracking, already flooding, already ending. He raised Mjolnir. The blow landed. The World Serpent, the creature that had encircled Midgard since before Thor was born. The creature Odin had thrown into the water and forgotten. The creature that had looked at Thor across a boat and across a deception and across 100 years of prophecy went still. Thor stood over it, and then he took one step. 2, 3, 4. The venom was already in his blood. He had known it would be 5, 6, 7. The horizon was gone. The ocean was rising. The world was ending. He had known that too. 8, 9. He fell. The Norse did not worship gods who could not die. They worshipped gods who died anyway. There is a difference between a god who cannot be touched and a god who can be destroyed, who knows it, who stands across a battlefield from the thing that will destroy him and walks forward. Thor knew the prophecy. He had always known. He chose to hold the hammer. He chose to walk toward the serpent. He chose each of the 9 steps. The Norns saw what must be. They wrote it in the threads of fate. What they could not write, what no prophecy can ever write, is why he walked. He walked because someone had to, because that is what warriors do at the end of the world, because 9 steps is enough.